Hi all, we're back with some Q&A with Michelle Turner. So we've got some questions asked at the weekend from the training we had here in Scotland, and we're trying to categorise them together a little bit. So we're going to go through the next few questions. First up, we've had questions about absolute horizon and the 3 fail-proof signs of CP. For me, I'd say, just to outline to people perhaps not aware, first of all, cerebral palsy is a brain injury. It's a starvation of oxygen, either before birth, during birth, or shortly after birth in the early years of life. So the first sign, if your child's had any of those issues, then, whether they get a full diagnosis, the cerebral palsy,
you have it.
Look for that. So absolute horizon, is it a fail-proof sign of CP, and what are the 3 that you
So
look
the
for?
absolute horizon, and this is a movement lesson term. So when you have a baby, you should be able to just hand them off, go down to the crib, bringing it up, and one of the first milestones that your baby is learning, and I'm going to be showing some videos. I'll bump up a really nice video where I compared 2 of Aaron's children for the absolute horizon, that you can see that. But you should be able to just put your baby down in the crib and not. One of the telltale signs with cerebral palsy is, first of all, that doesn't establish. It's just impossible to establish. And the reason is because one of the reasons is because you feel that the baby is stiff. You'll start using those words, but also they have a high startle. Now, this is not a reflex. It's just a high startle because the absolute horizon is not kicked in. So you go to put the baby down, and they just that awareness of a spatial drop is just too much for their system. And what you're also looking for within that category is what you're seeing as a startle is applied force. So you're seeing a startle, you're seeing that opposing, but what is also happening is the baby, if you're looking at a flat surface, will apply force. That is physically impossible with a typical child. A typical child is just here and they're moving around, right? And they're just wiggling in your arms, but you shouldn't feel like you have to hold them, in a sense, have to get them out. So it's sort of a long category. It's easy to say that they have a failed absolute horizon, but as far as how you're looking at that information, some people are looking at babies from afar. Oh, that baby, I can see that they're startling a lot, but they're not touching a child. But other people, again, are your parents, and you're looking for that touch, and you're feeling like just holding a baby's head, like they're just like almost like they're hitting you, and that is applied force, and it shouldn't be there.
Okay, and what else would you look for?
So a real telltale sign for cerebral palsy is the commitment of the wrist. You'll see the wrist, some people look for hand fisting, but what I'm looking for is the wrist either commits up or it commits down. Now, this can be either or the wrist or both wrists together. So you might see the fisted little paws, right? And then you'll go, oh, but the hands did open. Are the wrists being able to sort of nicely move around? As the hand, they don't open and close like we're at Sesame Street. They have this nice, like they're little seaweeds. That's what a baby's hand should be doing. Yes, there's time when they're sleeping, the hands are closed or up. So people get confused at the open, closed hand, but you can't get confused with the wrist committing. It shouldn't be where you have to feel like you're straightening out the whole hand from the wrist. You might see where the elbows also commit or the elbows commit, but you will see that the wrist does not have that freedom.
Okay, and we've then got missed milestones, and how does that lead to...
Sorry, let's just do one at a time. We still didn't do all 3 signs for cerebral palsy.
So 2?
That was just 2.
Sorry, that's my maths.
And now I'm confused what the 3rd sign is, but no, you are looking for, but not necessarily looking for, again, where Scott covered it, the oxygen deprivation. Your child could have had a stroke in utero, right? There are other things that could have happened in utero that your child was presented to, maybe CMV, which is a virus. There's plenty, and you might have this natural childbirth, and you think, but there was no trauma with my child, right? And so, but you're looking for the other signs. But I can't stress enough, guys, I get emails all the time, posts, where we think we might have it, we're not sure if we have it. The diagnosis of CP usually happens at the age around 18 months or to up to 3 years of age when they do an MRI to show brain injury. That's when you hear words like PVL or something like that, or they could have had a stroke or just, again, something similar. And your drownings are another way of causing or being involved with cerebral palsy. But I have to say this again, though, guys. They don't develop cerebral palsy. The cerebral palsy has happened. And this is what we have to become more aware with. If you're hearing these words, you're hearing these kind of symptoms that we're talking about, act like you have it. Because if you wait for the diagnosis, you're waiting to 2 years, 3 years. The boat sailed. You really need to want to get involved in your child's milestones. This is why we're trying to present what the milestones are, time dictated. At 1 month, your child should be going into the absolute horizon tummy time. At 2 months, we should be looking at each other. At 3 months, we should be rolling over. At 4 months, grabbing the feet. 5 months, independent sitting, etc. These are the milestones that you are looking for, because that's the next thing we're going to cover in our next live. What milestones get missed to declare special needs, because you can have developmental delays with CP, which might be spasticity in the lower limbs, extremities, or you can have global delays where you have complexities in all areas of the bodies. So that's where the ranges come from. Don't wait for the ranges. Narrow them in as much as you can. Get the help you need, but get involved. If the words cerebral palsy are coming into your mouth, and Scott will tell you too, if you think that services once a week are going to make a difference in your child's life, you need to get involved. You get involved just like at soccer practice or karate or ballet, but you get involved and you want to do some home-based activities. Like that's why we offer the courses that we do. But you want to know, and also by knowing, you can talk to your doctors better. The doctors are there for the medical intervention of cerebral palsy. You need to be there for the movement intervention for cerebral palsy.
Yeah, and I think that's so important for us, and what we found with our daughter was the fact that she starved of oxygen at birth. We spent 9 months in hospital, and they're still trying to tell us, you've got to wait till 2 or 3 until you get diagnosis of CP. And then they're telling you, just sit and wait. Let's just sit and wait and see what happens. Well, there's also research out there that's showing how important early intervention is. So, take that approach. If you know that there's been any sort of starvation of oxygen, any brain injury, any head injury, you need to be starting to look at it to say, it's not going to suddenly develop. It's not something that's going to get worse and they're going to pass. It's cerebral palsy can be a big spectrum in terms of the severity of it, and it can affect all 4 limbs. It can affect one limb. It can affect one half of the body. The other half. It's a wide spectrum. Start taking action yourself, and we couldn't encourage that enough. If you're seeing anything, and like Michelle said, we're going to get into missed milestones, any delays, and that you've gone through that birth, whether you've spent a serious amount of time in hospital or not, then as a parent, start taking that approach. And we're not here to say, yeah, your child's got CP or not. It's that there for the medical professionals to actually provide that diagnosis. We can just encourage you to think, we've got missed milestones, we've got this history, there's a good chance that at 2 or 3 we're going to get diagnosed with it. Let's treat it as if we have got it now, so that we can just help our child fulfill their potential.
And then if they don't, or again, you've lessened the severity and don't even realize it, woohoo! That's what it's there for. That's why you're there for as parents, is for optimal development, letting your child have it, and going for it. But you're also going to be so aware of what your child can or can't do that your presentation to the medical community goes up as well, before they're saying, well, are they doing this or what are they doing? And you're like, I don't know what to look for. You do when you're here, and that's what's important. Like everyone who just took the training this past weekend, they will be able to detect these signs just from the beginner's touch. Again, not to diagnose, but to be involved. Like Kay was here this weekend. Petra was here this weekend. Hi guys, and that's what we're talking about, is that they would know, or they would have known ahead of time, just from the touches that they learned and the movements that they've learned. Yeah, we're here for the movement, and Scott's a parent, I'm a parent. That's how we get involved even more. So Kay's a parent, and so it's important to know. But this whole big thing of we're not sure, they're waiting for your child to fail and you're waiting for your child to do better, but the wait and see's got to stop, especially around any kind of concerns for cerebral palsy.
Yeah, I suppose it's got 3 fail-proof signs, but for me, you take on board that history of brain injury, you take on board any issues and deviations in movement and missed milestones, and you know, you're well on that road.
Anything 2 days past the hospital. Anything 2 days past the hospital should be worked at. Is it your child's at risk for, despite cerebral palsy, developmental delays or possibly globally delays? If you're not sure what happened, you get the hospital notes to see. And if you start seeing things like resuscitation, things like that, not getting a good first breath, you know, it's not a guarantee of low APGAR scores. Don't look at that. Don't, you know, people think that they've missed CP because their APGAR scores is a 9. That's not what the purpose of an APGAR score is.
And, you know, like, I think we can't emphasize enough about that early intervention. And if you're a new parent, if you're a young parent, whatever it is, you've got a young child and you got any concerns whatsoever with anything we've talked about, do the newborn movement assessment. There's a load of, you know, it's almost a fail-proof scoring system there that you can go through. And again, it's just going to highlight different things for you to work on.
Thanks, guys. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Hi, Marina.